Hello everybody, a big sell-off day. You can see all stocks closed red. And look what happened where we closed on Nasdaq 100 in the buy zone. We closed on US 500 in the buy zone. We closed on Dow Jones in the buy zone. Russell 2000 came to the buy zone and now it's away from the buy zone. So what that means, we have three indices in the buy zone and this is where we buy. Why these are green lines? Because we buy and we sell on the red lines. We don't sell on the green lines, we sell on the red lines because I am expecting a pump. I'm expecting a pump from here to touch red lines, almost 2% pump. This can happen tomorrow. We will see. But so far these indicators worked pretty good and I think we are gonna be getting a big pump very soon. Okay guys, if you like the content, please hit the like button. There's a thumb sign. Just take you 1 second to hit the like, and I'm giving updates pre-market and during midday and around lunchtime, and I'm sharing levels with my subscribers. If you like to make money, click the join button in the description. It's only like $6 for a month and it can pay, any one trade can pay for the whole year. I think it's a very reasonably priced. Okay guys, so you already saw levels on all the indices and I do expect a pump anytime now, and I'm not gonna sell here. I'm gonna sell, like I said, on Nasdaq 15684 and on US 500 around 4572, and Dow Jones, that target is around 35634, and Russell 2000, that target is around 1995. So big sell off. Look what happened on VIX. VIX came to the sell zone and all the indices came to the buy zone. Let's quickly look at all the stocks first and then we'll do an analyze on what we expect. Why do I expect this to bounce? Well, let's quickly look at the zones. We'll spend 5 minutes to quickly look at the stocks which are in buy zone. Gold in the buy zone. You can see gold miners, in it fell below third standard deviation and it's closed -3%. This is when you want to buy. You want to buy when it's red across the board. You see these stocks, everything red. Only hardly few stocks are red, green. Everything is red here across the board. This is when you need to buy. This is super sale. Gold might have bottomed. Let's see. We will review daily chart very soon. Silver close to the buy zone. Natural gas close to the buy zone. One subscriber asked me to look at UNG. You can see close below second standard deviation. This is perfect time to buy UNG. Boil 3x 2x leverage. It's down 7.3%. Perfect time to buy Boil. Crude oil, you can see how nicely crude oil was in the sell zone for the last couple of days and now it's sold off, came in the buy zone. So what happens in the buy zone? We expect a little bit of pump. Toronto Stock Exchange below third standard deviation in the buy zone. Amazing time to buy. Bitcoin bouncing around, came to the sell zone yesterday. I can show you. I showed you in the pre-market. Do not touch it. Wait for it to come to the buy zone. Came to the buy zone. Now bouncing off the buy zone. I think it's going to go now to 29,520. Ethereum, same thing. Came to the buy zone from the sell zone. You can see how nicely these charts work out. Now it's going to go to the sell zone. Bonds came in the buy zone. Now it's in the middle. We don't do anything here. Dollar. The reason why stocks are going down, why commodities are going down, all commodities, gold, silver, natural gas, oil. One of the main reason is dollar is pumping. But good news is dollar is in the sell zone. That means I expect a dump in dollar and I expect a pump in gold and commodities. Copper in the buy zone here, down 1.82%. Wheat in the buy zone. Corn in the buy zone. Soya beans pumping away from buy zone. Sugar in the middle. We don't do anything here. In the middle, we don't diddle. Let's quickly look at levels on triple Qs. You can see on triple Qs also came to the first standard deviation and below second. And I'll show you how do we review gaps. You can see it filled multiple gaps, but it gapped down. So we'll do an analysis with 1 hour chart very soon, and I'll show you the gaps, how we coordinate gaps. Dow Jones jumped from buy zone. IWM came out. You can see how nicely it touched buy zone and just pumped. Let's quickly look at stocks which are in buy zone. Newmont Mine is in the buy zone. XLK is the ETF tech stock in the buy zone. XLE jumped, nothing to do here. XLV jumped, you can see it touched the buy zone and jumped. XLU, again same thing, utilities touched and jumped. XLI, you can see came closed and jumped. XLRE came to the buy zone and jumped. XLF touched it and jumped. KRE touched it and jumped. And Fungu, this is 3x ETF, very good time to buy in the buy zone. SOXL down 11% in the buy zone. Tesla, yesterday I told you I don't want to buy here, I want to wait for it to dump. And pre-market, I told you you should buy pre-market, and it was down almost 3%. And if you bought it, you could have sold it right away on this pump. Netflix, nothing to do here. Google came to the buy zone and then recovering now. Microsoft is in the buy zone. Apple earnings tomorrow, so it's a gamble, so be careful. But if things are good, they can pump Apple. So Apple is close to the buy zone. Meta in the middle. Amazon in the buy zone. Also earnings tomorrow. It can pump if things are good. Snowflakes in near second standard deviation in the buy zone. NVDA in the buy zone. AMD sell off 7% after earnings, great earnings, but forecast is poor, and now it's in the buy zone again. Okay, let's quickly look at some other stocks. Intel, you can look at levels here. ARKK is in the buy zone. Shopify after hours earnings are good, but nothing, stock is doing nothing. Maybe forecast is low. Somebody asked me to review Cisco. Cisco is in the middle. We don't diddle in the middle, so nothing to do here. Wait for it to drop below 52 bucks to buy again. Disney in the buy zone. UPS in the buy zone. McDonald's in the buy zone. You can see most of the stocks. Home Depot, nothing to do here. Nike in the buy zone. Honeywell is now jumping. I told you buy near second standard deviation. Now it's like still staying there. Very good time to buy. Boeing coming close to the buy zone. MasterCard is in the buy zone. Visa, nothing to do here. Let's see stocks which sold. Verizon is in the buy zone. TELUS fell. I think it's gonna pump. It's just keep going. They keep selling it off, but I think eventually earnings are coming, so it's gonna pump very hard. Bell, all telecom sectors are pretty weak, so they're selling off. Costco is in the buy zone. BRKB in the middle, nothing to do here. Pfizer is in the buy zone, pumped and then again dumped. And all you can see Hang Seng Index is in the buy zone. All Chinese stocks in the buy zone. So you can buy MCHI or CQQQ. These are the ETFs for Chinese stock. Baba you can see in the buy zone. Baidu is in the buy zone. You can see how nicely. And all the banks are in the buy zone. I don't want to go to individual banks. CNQ is in the buy zone. Enbridge also, so you can see it does third standard deviation and pumping. Still in the buy zone, so still it can, earnings are day after tomorrow, so it can pump from here to the red one, to the red line. Zoom in the buy zone. Target I told you yesterday in the buy zone and nicely recovered, and now in the middle. Palantir after massive pump in the middle, nothing to do here. Plug after pump, massive pump, now again in the buy zone, again 8% down. AEHR very close here. Okay guys, so these are the stocks for trades as soon as tomorrow, and you can see futures are already pumping almost a 0.15%. I think they're gonna go from here to at minimum here, and we're gonna sell at 15,685. I will show you this level to subscribers in the morning after futures are done tonight. So let's quickly move to now daily chart, and let's review daily analysis and see, starting with SPY, what am I expecting, and let's quickly see how we do gaps and how we take care of gap fills. Okay, so this is I'm gonna teach you a lesson here guys. You can see here how I sort out gaps. You can see we gap down and now there's a massive gap. So what we're gonna do, so gaps to the down I mark it green, the gaps to the up I mark it yellow. So I'm gonna move this here, 1 hour chart. This is a yellow gap here. So you can see from today's close to the pump here, we can easily go as much as 1.35%, and I think we will fill this gap before we go down. So daily chart, what am I expecting? This is my probable scenario, I expect a gap to fill and then go down. Okay, this is what my expectation is. Triple Qs, let's check at gaps. You can see this gap is filled. You can see this gap was created here, and now it created another gap, so we're going to pick this yellow. And you can see there's another gap here. Actually, this gap is also filled. You can see this gap. Sorry, this gap is perfectly filled, so delete this. So from today's close, Triple Q can go almost 2.2% to fill this gap, and that will be perfect selling opportunity for us. So what do I expect? I want Triple Qs to go up, fill this gap, and then go down. Okay, we'll see if this comes true. Dow Jones. Let me see. It's a bit slow. Dow Jones, we can go to 1 hour chart and you can see this gap is filled. You can see this green line, but it gapped down. So we created another gap to the upside. Gaps are filled 95% of the time. So what do I expect on Dow Jones? Same thing. So you're gonna fill this gap and then go lower to fill other gaps. Okay. IWM, let's quickly look at 1 hour chart. This gap is still left. This gap is still not closed. You can see here. So I think most likely same thing here. Another gap down, so we can create a gap here. And on the daily chart, I think most likely where we're heading, same thing. We're gonna have a gap fill and then we go down. All right, that's my projection. That's how we manage gaps. XLK, we reviewed it here. So I think this is gonna be now like this. Let me update this. Let's quickly look at 1 hour chart. Gap down. So we're gonna most likely go fill this gap before we go down. XLE, let's quickly look at 1 hour chart. Nothing changed here, looking to go down. XLV, no gaps here, so looking like it closed green, so it might want to close these gaps before we go higher. Let's see. XLU, no gaps today, so getting ready to pump higher. It's possible. XLI, 1 hour chart, gap down, and it filled this gap, so we can get rid of this. So I think from now it's gonna go up, fill this gap before it goes lower. So I think it's most likely gonna do this, then go lower. So let's get rid of this green line. And XLRE, let's go to 1 hour chart. No gaps here, so that's good. So XLRE can also pump before it goes lower. XLF, 1 hour chart, gap down, you can see. So it's gonna most likely go fill the gap before it goes down. Fill the gap before it goes down. So we'll see how that goes. Oops, sorry. Delete this. And let's look at Tesla 1 hour chart. You can see this gap is also filled. You can see how nicely all gaps are filled. And now there's this earnings gap, and also I think if I zoom in, we also created another gap on Tesla here. So we're gonna make this yellow. And what am I gonna expect? I am expecting a little bit pump before dump. So Tesla, I think we're gonna pump and then dump. Okay, this pump can go as high as here, or it can go as high as low as here. We'll figure it out soon. Netflix 1 hour chart, you can see no gaps. This gap is still here, so I think Netflix could do the same thing, because I'm expecting little bit pump, and then go lower. Google 1 hour chart, gap down. This gap is filled now. You can see this gap is filled. So what we can do, we can put it up. Okay, we're gonna make this yellow. All right, so the gaps down, gaps up. So my preference is Google go up, fill this gap, and then come down to this trend line. Microsoft 1 hour chart, you can see this gap is now also filled. So we can, sorry, this gap here is filled, but it gapped down, so gap is up now. So we're gonna make it yellow, and we go to daily chart, and I think it's coming closer to the trend line, but it's due for a bounce. It's gonna go up, then come down at minimum. Apple falling from this bearish rising wedge coming out of this wedge. So this is a sign of a sell-off, but it doesn't mean it cannot backtest. And earnings are tomorrow, so it can be very risky. You can see this gap up. You can see how nicely all these stocks are now filling gaps. This is a new lesson for you guys. So you can make this yellow here. So this is a gap down. So this gap will eventually be filled. So my preference is from here, Apple goes up, fill this gap before it goes down. Okay. Meta, let's go to 1 hour chart. You can see how nicely this gap is also filled, but it created another gap down. So it's gonna be yellow here. Sorry, I don't like that yellow. I like this yellow. And on daily chart, I think Meta will do the same thing. You can see Meta going up, filling this gap before it goes down. Amazon, same thing here. Another gap filled. You can see this gap is filled, but another gap down. So we can make this also yellow. Okay. So daily chart, you can see it's right on this trend line, closing right on this trend line. Just closed on this today. So it can go up, fill this gap before we go down. I don't know. It all depends on earnings. Divergence are telling me we could have a pump before we go down. We'll see how it goes. Snowflakes 1 hour chart. You can see this gap is also filled. So we can move this here to make a gap up now, right? So massive red candle here. Can it fill this gap before it goes down? We'll see. NVDA multiple gaps. If you see my channel, I held these gaps. I was telling you there are multiple gaps, so I think it's just getting started. This gap is also filled, so you can delete this. So I think it will eventually go lower, but it can go fill this gap and then go lower. All right, this is quite possible. AMD, you can see this gap is filled, but it did not massive sell candle today. But again, it can pump before it goes down. Okay, something like this. So these are the main stocks, and Shopify, one of the subscriber, oh boy, look at these gaps it filled today. So it gapped down, so you can make this gap as yellow, and you can see all these gaps. This gap is filled. You can see this gap is filled. You can see this gap is filled. Wow. See guys, these gaps are filled eventually, so just a matter of time. Nobody knows when. So from here it can go fill this gap before it can go down. Okay, that's quite possible. Cisco, somebody wants to review Cisco. Cisco still has a gap here. You can see it gapped up, so we can make this actually green here. And there's also a gap here, so we're gonna make another gap here. These are daily charts. Sorry, actually I have to go to 1 hour chart. 1 hour chart green here, and there's also green here, and there are no gaps to the upside. So Cisco, let's bring it moving averages here, looking very bullish, but you can see we have divergences on PPO and RSI. You can see here, if I draw an arrow, divergence here, divergence here. So Cisco is due for a little bit more downsides because there are multiple gaps. I can think Cisco is going to come down before it goes higher, but I showed you this is still away from the buy zone when I showed you earlier. Disney, something I like. You can see how nicely Disney left this gap, still did not fill this gap, so eventually it will fill tomorrow, so it can go a little bit more lower before it goes higher. So very nicely you can predict and trade these guys, right? This is not magic, guys. Very easy. So I think it's gonna go fill this gap and then pump. Maybe it will wait till earnings and then pump. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, you can do same thing on all stocks you like. Okay, and this is something I wanted to show you. Let's quickly see if there is anything else which is interesting. I think we covered all tech stocks. Commodities, sorry, that's the thing we are missing. So daily chart of commodities and gold. Let's quickly review it. Gold is selling off, but it's on this trend line, you can see. So right on the support. So my preference is a little bit bounce before it goes lower, because I'm expecting bounce around the around all indices. So expecting a little bit bounce before it goes lower. I don't think it can go lower straight down. did close below all moving averages, which is bearish, but the good sign is it's about on this trend line. So I think gold should bounce soon. GDX, very bad candle. This is a selling candle. Uh, so we got to be careful. So we have to wait for GDX to come back to this trend line, but this could be like a stop rate. Also, there was a gap here. If I show you 1 hour chart on gold miners, you can see this gap here still not filled. So tomorrow we can slightly go lower and then go up. There's a gap up here. So those gaps will be filled. So from today's close, that gap will be around 7%. Okay. So there's massive upside potential. This could be a stop rate, just breaking trend line. So if you want to be safe, just wait for it to come and recover this trend line above 29.28. Okay, silver we do same thing as gold. So looking for actually now I have to update this a bit. It's not going to go straight down. So I'm looking for a little bit of upside before it goes lower. Natural gas breaking down of this trend line, which is bearish, and let's bring in moving averages. And yeah, this could be also same thing as gold, could be a stop rate, but as of now it's below all the trend lines, but there is some support here. You can see here if I draw a box here, you can see where natural gas is. This is a big support area. Okay, so don't worry too much, it's on the support, but so it can still go and break this trend line and go higher. So good time to buy natural gas and all these ETFs. Crude oil in the middle, basically now a little bit of cooling, got a red candle, so it can come down still. They support around this 200 EMA and SMA, which is around 77 bucks, and also this massive support around $74. So it can still come down before it can go higher. Toronto Stock Exchange, again multiple gaps, so gap down here, so we can make this yellow here, and then this one we can delete, and there's also a massive gap here. So I think it can still from here go up before it can go down. That's quite possible, so be mindful of that. It is quite possible it can do this. All right, Hang Seng Index, same thing like my projection. I think it's ready to bounce now. I did not change anything, so this is where you want to buy on support. You can see massive support area. This is resistance, and now broke out support. Now it's ready to bounce. Bitcoin touched my buy zone, and yesterday I gave an update that I got this is about to cross, but today it's going down, so this is not good. Yesterday I had a green candle developing in the morning, but today now the candle is gone, so I think still still touching very close to this trend line, so I do still expect Bitcoin to bounce anytime from here. Okay, very good time to buy Bitcoin. Ethereum now, although below trend line, starting to sell. So let's see if we can make a trend line a little bit like this, because it's giving me new dots for trend lines. So this could be like that as well. So yeah, so as we get new data, we need to update trend lines. So right now it still looks like in a chopped range, but looks like a trend line support, and also 200 and EMA and SMA is right here. So I think it's ready to buy. Good time to buy Ethereum before it bounces and goes higher. Bond very close to make. You can see this cycle low. I think it's about to bottom very soon. This cycle low is right now, right here, ready to pump. Dollar very bullish. Today it closed above 50 SMA, so it's very bullish. It break out, but it could come down, back test before it goes higher. So I think when it comes down, stock market will go up a week or so, and then it's going to break out, and stock market will go down. Copper again came to the buy zone. You can see this support zone. Very good time to buy copper. And all these stocks are selling just because of dollar. And then you can see wheat came again back to this support. We can adjust this support a little bit slightly here. And again you can see close right on support. Wheat needs to bounce right now, right here. Corn again back on support. Really needs to hold this support right now. Soya beans, again, this is also on support area, needs to hold it here, looking for a bounce, hold. Sugar, still not able to close above this 50 SMA, really back tested it going down. I think sugar is gonna be closing it very, very soon above this, and it's gonna be explosive move whenever that happens. And lastly, VIX. You can see VIX is coiling. It just bounced. So with multiple gaps created. So you can see this gap created now here on the bottom. So I think VIX should come back and fill this gap before it goes higher. Okay, so I think VIX is going to come back, fill this gap, and then it goes higher. Okay, guys, hopefully today was very educational and helpful. If you like something and learn something, hit the like button and share with your friends and family. And again, if you want to subscribe, I give you levels in the morning, pre-market, and in the afternoon. That should help you with your trading. Just subscribe there. Okay, guys, have a good one. Take care.